Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome to our third mission with our full playthrough of British Tank Ace from Compass Games and designed by Gregory Smith. In our first two missions we have yet to miss. Our shooting has been perfect. Can we keep up our red hot streak or will our fortunes turn? Let's jump in and find out. As we start out our third mission, let's do a quick recap of our career so far. We've had two missions, two successes. We've knocked out two tanks, an infantry squad, and an Italian recon vehicle. In our previous mission, we did pretty well by knocking out two enemy vehicles. We got mentioned in dispatches, which gains us a prestige level and a prestige point, which we can spend to perhaps upgrade a tank at some point in the future. Also, as we perused the battlefield after our victory, we found an M1935 Italian pistol that we can trade in for future goodies as we go through our campaign. Also, it is still June 1940, as we have 4 missions in a month. This will be our third mission, so we're in the back half of June now, inching our way towards July 1940. Everything with our cruiser Mark 1 A9 is the same, no changes here. We're loaded up with AP ammo, machine gun ammo is all set to go, 6 cents stamina, and our crew is the same. We'll decide whether we're going to be hull down or open country depending upon the mission and whether we're going to start in open or buttoned up status as well. Again, our goal is to get out of this tank and into a Matilda by September. That is our long game that we're playing here. Down in North Africa, let's roll up for our mission now. Still June 1940 chart. We're going to roll 2d6. We get a 5, which is movement to contact. All right. Let's next check the weather here. We got an 8, clear weather. No dust storms or sandstorms this time. Most excellent. Lastly, let's check what type of terrain this engagement will be in. It is a 7, open terrain. The perfect desert situation. We've got open terrain, clear weather, and we are moving to engage the enemy. So we've got our movement to contact mission designation in here. We've got clear weather and then open desert terrain stretching out in front of us. A quick word too, I mentioned earlier, this is a misprint on this board. Compass Games reached out and said they have a fix-in for it for the final version. So if you ordered the version from Compass, you should have this fixed somehow in the game that will be arriving for you. Now let's roll, which is our biggest roll. Let's roll for our enemy force composition. We get a 7 right in the middle, 1 anti-tank gun and 2 infantry. Interesting. Okay, so we need to roll for the morale on the infantry, and let's see what type of an anti-tank gun. The anti-tank gun is an Italian anti-tank gun. That's only possibility is to have a 47mm anti-tank gun. So one of these. We need to roll the morale on the infantry, a 1d6. Let's see what we get. We get a 1, low quality infantry morale, a morale of 3. That shouldn't matter unless we get into close range, but we are not going against elite Italian troops today. So next up, I'm going to roll and put all these in position and we'll take a look and see what the board looks like. Anti-tank gun starts off to our left, 1 infantry in front of us and 1 infantry off to the right. We do need to roll as to see whether all of these infantry are dug in or not on a 1d6. 3 to 6, they are all dug in. They get a 2. They are not. Fortunate for us. They're standing up in the open. Excellent. We've got weak morale Italians standing in the open, not even dug in as we move towards contact. This is pretty good. I mean, this anti-tank gun is dangerous. I think this is the threat, right? The infantry really isn't a threat for us in the beginning stages here. So I think our goal is going to be to take this out first. So let's think about whether we want to be buttoned up and how we're going to approach this. Let's get this mission started. We have a plan. By far the most dangerous piece of Italian equipment on the battlefield is this anti-tank gun. So we want to try to knock this out first. Now you may recall from the first mission that our A9 tank has a special feature. We have 2 machine guns, a left machine gun and a right machine gun turret. This one's manned by David S. This one's manned by Tim. And we can fire both of these machine guns as one action, providing we fire them exactly straight ahead. So we are going to have our driver, Lance Corporal Scott, angle our hull to face directly at the anti-tank gun so we can get 2 shots off at it with one action. This is our first action. Moving the tank like this comes with some risk. It is a chance of immobilization here on this immobilized from movement chart. Now it's only a 2, however, we're leaving Scott buttoned up, so we have to -1 to this die roll. Still, odds are pretty good we're not going to become immobilized. We get a 10. Scott pulls off the maneuver deftly, and we are now, with our first action, pointed directly at the anti-tank gun, and it is time to let loose the dogs of war. With our second action, we're going to fire both machine gun turrets right at the anti-tank gun. We're going to use this machine gun versus anti-tank gun chart. And are there modifiers? There are absolutely no modifiers because we have both of our gunners unbuttoned in their turrets here. If they were buttoned, it would be a +1, but unbuttoned gives us an advantage here. Now, on a 2 to 5, we knock one out. On a 6 to 9, we suppress it, which is a good result as well. Anything else has no effect. We get 2 shots. Let's have David S. with the left machine gun open fire first. Let's take out this gun right away. Wow. What a shot! The anti-tank gun crew is just riddled with David S.'s perfect firing, and we take out another enemy weapon with just 1 shot. Quick caveat, if you haven't watched playthroughs on this channel before, I don't doctor any dice, I don't change anything. Whatever happens, happens. I was looking up the math for us to roll 3 consecutive 2 to 5 dice rolls on 2 dice. It's 1.9%. Now we just did another 1 in 4, so this is like 1 in 200 that we would hit 4 consecutive shots like this. This is mathematically insane, and I promise you I'm not changing it. If you've seen the other replays, you know that stuff goes bad, and we're living in a good spot right now, so let's just hold on to it as long as we can. That is our second action, but then we could fire the other one straight ahead, but there's nothing to hit. We knocked out the anti-tank gun already. So now we go to the Italian forces actions. The first thing we have to figure out is whether this infantry is firing at us or they're firing at some other imaginary ally of ours on the battlefield. Let's roll for the one in sector B first. On a die roll of 1, they fire at us. On a 2 to 6, they fire at something else. Whew, 2, they're firing at something else. The one on the far right, likewise, are they targeting us or somewhere else? 6, they're targeting somewhere else. So the first round here ends rather well for us as we once again knock out a target with our first shot. With that, we have come to the end of the first round, except what we need to do now is to check for an event. We're going to roll on the event check chart here. Now, if we get a 9, it randomly destroys 1 Axis infantry, and that would end the mission. We get a 3. Oh God, that's not good. Axis reinforcement, 1 SPG shows up. Okay, let's figure this out. All right, so I looked for clarifications. The issue here is that there are no Italian SPGs until 1942, and there isn't really anything that says in the rules if you should replace it with a tank, ignore it, or roll again. There is one spot on the enemy force generation where it says if an SPG is rolled January to March 1941, replace it with a tank. And then there's another spot that says ignore Italian SPGs in 1941, but nothing specifically to this. I think the fairest way to play it is to play it as hard as possible for us, so I'm going to replace the SPG with an Italian tank, which means that we need to roll on the Italian tank type die roll here on a 1 to 5. Let's see what we on to 6. Let's see what we get. We get a 2, which is our good old friend, the M1139. And you place this apparently exactly the way you would anything else in the game. So we're going to get out our M1139 here. We're going to roll to see where it ends up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. 6. Oh, way over on the right. That's not where we wanted it. But suddenly things have got a lot more dangerous for us. So that finishes our first round, and we now go to the second round, and we're starting. We have 2 actions to do. We have a plan. Once again, we are going to angle the hull this way, and my thinking is this: we need to knock out this tank as fast as possible. If we're successful at that, our next stage is to eliminate one of the infantry units as fast as possible so that we can end the round in the combat and this last enemy will withdraw. So if we face the tank right at this, if we face our tank right at this tank, if we knock this out, we can then immediately take on the enemy infantry. So our first action is to angle towards this tank. We have to roll for immobilization. It's our driver, Scott, is buttoned up, so we need to see what happens there. We get an 8, -1 is a 7. We are fine, and we've angled the hull towards the M1139, and now we are going to, the question is, do we want to fire at that or the infantry? The first move anyway, the tank is, I think it says on the first round of combat the tank tries to flank us. I assume that that would be the same thing for the first round a tank appears, that it's going to try to do this flanking maneuver. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be in the, but I would assume that it's going to perform the same thing. So we're going to have my best guess is the Italian tank is going to try to flank us, which gives us one extra round to try to knock it out. So let's take that shot. Again, our amazing gunner Hoovian here lines up the tank. We need a 2 to 5 to hit, I believe. Let's double check. Yeah, we're at long range. Everything's good. A 2 to 5 to hit. Oh my goodness. This isn't... I'm going to check these dice. That's absolutely amazing. No one's going to believe this. I know no one's going to believe this. Everyone's going to say these are fake dice rolls. They're not, but they're, I swear to God, they're not. We're just so red hot. We're going to take this tank out and watch out. Okay, so our penetration is a 5. The frontal armor here, as we know from our previous missions, is a 3. It is -1, I believe, at long range, but we're still ahead of the penetration. So our penetration is greater than the armor, which means that we are firing to destroy the tank. A big roll we need this time. Get an 8. -1 is a 7. Defender eliminated. Hoovian is 4 for 4 on shots, and once again, we wipe out an Italian vehicle or enemy with 1 shot. We are so red hot. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now we go to, those are our 2 actions. We go to the Italian infantry. We're going to see if they fire at us. On a 1, we'll do the 1 and B first. It fires at us, otherwise it engages somebody else. It engages somebody else. Then we go to the infantry in C to see what they do. They get a 5. They are busy with other targets. Despite our incredible shooting, they don't seem to really mind about us. Okay, so we've knocked out the tank again. This is the easiest way to play the game, is just roll awesome. That's the only thing I can say about this. This is beyond the realm of mathematically likely. I think we're down to like 0.1%, like 1 in 1,000. Would you roll this 5 times in a row? The math is just insane here. Okay, but carry on. So, like, focus. There's still enemies left here. So, with that in mind, we have to roll on the event yet, because that brings us to the end of this particular round. Let's see what happens. We get an 8, which is no event at all. Okay, so that is done, and that means we come to the end of the second round. We go now to the third round. We still got our machine gun fires unbuttoned. Time to take on this infantry, and we can get, with 1 action, we can get 2 shots off. So it should go fairly well. They're kind of green troops standing in the open, busy shooting at other things. It's our high explosive machine gun attack on chart B2 here. Now, do we have any die roll modifiers? No, we are unbuttoned, so no die roll modifiers. It's looking pretty good to, at the very least, get a suppression. Let's have David S. open up fire first. He gets an 8, which is suppressed. All right, so it's time now for Tim to open up with the right machine gun turret. Now, a second suppressed marker actually causes a step loss and leaves the unit suppressed. So let's see what happens with this. Oh, we get a 3. That's even easier. Now, this is previous target. Is it long range? No, there's no range modifiers. Yeah, there's no die roll modifiers on it. So a 3 is a straight up 2-step loss, and that infantry unit only has 2 steps. So DM Tim takes out the Italian infantry squad, which leaves this last Italian infantry squad. But we know by the rule, when there's 1 infantry unit left, this infantry unit withdraws from the force of our attack here, and the battle has ended. Oh my goodness. Well, our third mission was a success here. This time we can search the battlefield. We'll go through the end of mission procedures here. We're going to search the battlefield, see if we get any kind of war trophies here. We get a 5, an M38 Beretta submachine gun. So we'll drop our M38 here. This is worth a value of 2, so we've now got a fairly hefty amount of war trophies here. I didn't really see anything that we could turn these in for. We could turn it in for a limited availability type of ammunition, but our tank doesn't use that. We haven't really had any need for an extra mortar mission. Weapons cleaning kit, I'm not sure. No jams next mission. We could get alcohol, restores synergy if lost, but none of that really seems to apply to us. I mean, an extra mortar mission might be handy at some point, so maybe we'll get that, but we'll think about that between now and the next mission. Now we go back to awards here. This is, we could get mentioned in dispatches again because we knocked out 2 enemy vehicles. There is no prestige benefit to this. It just is a notation that we could say, oh, it happened again. To do that, we have to roll a 3 or above on a single die. Let's see what happens. We get a 6, so we are mentioned in dispatches again, so they're writing about us, but we don't get any prestige points for that. The third thing that happens is that we could get experience points, and to our benefit, this is now our 3rd mission. Whether they're successful or not, every 3 missions you get an experience point, so we do get our first experience point. Now we could spend this on a skill. We'll think about that before the next mission. I think though I'm inclined to save this to get the gunnery skill, which is a 4 experience point cost, but it gives our gunner a -1 to the main turret gun, which I think would be very, very helpful for knocking, I mean, not the way we're rolling. The way we're rolling, we don't really need any help, but eventually we're probably not going to roll a 2 to 5 on something, so that could be extremely beneficial to us. So I'm inclined to save for that. If people have played the game and have thoughts about that, I'd be curious to hear what you think. There are no promotion benefits, and so with that, we wrap up our 3rd mission in June of 1940. Another amazing success thanks to our absolutely mind-numbingly good shooting. I mean, the party's got to end sometime, right? But we're just going to keep living this dream while we can. I'll put a link to mission 4 as soon as it's ready. Thanks for watching.